This is the Jesse Kelly Show.
It is the Jesse Kelly Show, another hour of the Jesse Kelly Show on a magnificent Wednesday. We're going to talk about more tranny madness this hour. I'll get to some emails this hour, the world of make-believe, all that and so much more still to come on the Jesse Kelly Show. But, oh boy. Sometimes, speaking of knowing what you're dealing with and understanding what you're dealing with, maybe the tranny thing is the thing that'll drive this home to normies or people, and maybe this is you, people who haven't fully accepted where Democrats have gone in this country and fully accepted that when you're talking to a Democrat now, you have to approach it as if the person is insane. And we've talked many times about the reason they're insane. We'll talk about it again, but they believe a lot of things that just simply aren't real. And when you talk to them, you have to keep that in mind. I know they look like you. They have 2 hands, 2 eyes, 2 feet. Maybe they're even related to you. And so it's human nature to see someone that looks like you and think that you're dealing with someone, at least as propaganda efforts in this country, that they're not really human anymore. If you think that's too far, I'm going to play for you an exchange between Missouri Senator Josh Hawley and a doctor. You ready? Go.
The goal is the truth. So can men get pregnant?
Again, the reason I paused there is I'm not really sure what the goal of the question is.
The goal is just to establish a biological reality. You just said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics.
Absolutely.
So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
can men get pregnant?
There are many women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women. That
Can men get pregnant?
Again, as I'm saying,
Let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics. So can men get pregnant? You're a doctor, I think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool. And
No, yes/no questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding.
I want you to remember who you're dealing with when you talk to your liberal Aunt Peggy. Ashley Moody, Senator Ashley Moody, had some time as well.
Ms. Verma, can men get pregnant?
Dr. Verma,
Yes.
I just want to make sure we're
Dr.
all
Verma,
addressing
can
each
men
other
get
with-
pregnant? As a doctor, give me your opinion. As a doctor, can men get pregnant?
I mean,
I'll move on to the next one. Doctor, can men get pregnant?
No.
I know you're a lawyer, an AG, like I was an AG. Can men get pregnant?
No.
But the communists can't answer the question. You're not dealing with someone who is like you. That's all I'm trying to say. And we can talk about it again. They're not like you because they live in a world of make-believe. If you're a communist, you are able to live every moment of your life in that world because the corporate press is that world, the university system is that world, Hollywood is that world. So if you watch ABC, NBC, CBS, if you read the New York Times, if you go to the latest Disney movie, if you go to Harvard, then you may think that you're highly, highly informed, but in fact, you are the dumbest person in the history of the world. We play clips from The View on the show, and maybe you think that's dumb. Why does it matter? I don't watch The View. I know you don't. But middle-aged women do watch The View, and they do believe what these women say. And so when you talk to this bug-eyed commie freak woman who's yelling at ICE and telling them to shoot her in the face, and you're looking at her and you're trying to understand why that person acts and talks the way they act, she watches this during the day.
That Trump is looking for this kind of pandemonium to go on, like you just described, so that he could declare martial law or something. And also cancel the midterms.
Well, under martial law, you won't have an election.
Yeah.
He's going to declare martial law and cancel the midterms. But that's crazy. You're right, it's crazy. Your liberal Aunt Peggy believes it. And the results of it can be so tragic. You know that woman, Renee Good, who got her brains blown out by the ICE agent because she tried to run him over? Her father-in-law went on CNN, and you want to hear the tragedy behind all this? Listen to the sorrow. Listen to the sadness. I'm sorry, this is her former father-in-law. She used to be married.
I don't have any many enemies. I love everybody, and that's what the Bible tells us, love our neighbors as we love ourselves. But, I think there's some bad choices, and the word says, for the wrath of God will come upon the children of disobedience. And, it's I don't blame ICE. I don't blame Rebecca. I don't blame Renee. I just wish that, if we're walking the Spirit of God, I don't think she would have been there. That's the way I look at it.
Just a sad man. Former daughter-in-law dead. And he nailed that one. These people walk in darkness. You may think your liberal Aunt Peggy, she just watches CNN. She's a little left. She listens to NPR on her commute. She's just a little left. No, she's spiritually shattered because of, well, what is it people say? Inputs equal outputs. She's spiritually shattered because of what goes into her mind every day. If you were to take a man or a woman, and that person drank hard alcohol 8 hours a day, starting at breakfast, 8 hours a day, hard alcohol, what would happen to that person's insides? They'd be liquefied. They'd be destroyed, right? You can't do that. The human inputs equal outputs. How long would it take before you would see it in that person's face, their skin, their eyes? If you were to take a person, man or woman, and they got hooked on pornography all day, every day, pornography, that's something people struggle with. Very understandable thing to struggle with. Certainly not judging. That would eventually manifest itself in ugly ways in their lives. That's no different than watching NBC News every night. That's no different than watching The View every day.
That Trump is looking for this kind of pandemonium to go on, like you just described, so that he could declare martial law or something, and also cancel the midterms.
Well, under
inputs equal outputs. Hey, Jesse, did the frozen pizza you got for Christmas come in wrapping paper? It did not, as a matter of fact. They were worried. Well, Chris, they were worried about it thawing out. So, in fact, they just told me it's in the freezer, which was nice. I mean, I guess, what, Chris? That's where Santa put it. He put it in the freezer. You know what's real tragedy? The real tragedy about that? It was a Tony's Pizza. Back when Tony's Pizza was amazing. You may be too young. It's not in, Chris, you don't eat Tony's Pizza? You never ate it? Okay, so let me explain something. Tony's Pizza. I'm a Totino's Pizza man. Don't get me wrong, but Tony's Pizza used to have the pepperonis that would form the little cup when you threw it in the... Why are you making that face? Why are you being like... No, it's not in that. Corey, the little cup pepperonis. Thank you, Corey. You're so stupid. I think they were all beef, so you could eat it. They make this little cup, and you'd pull it out, and the crust was like this pastry crust, and the pepperoni would be this little cup of pepperoni grease. You remember exactly what I'm talking about, right, Corey? Amazing. Absolutely amazing. No, they don't make it anymore. Probably bought by China or something. It's probably run by foreigners. I'm just going to blame everything on foreigners from now on. It's probably run by foreigners. Now they have flat pepperonis. The crust isn't nearly as pastry-like as it used to be. It drives me up. Everything's worse now. I sound like my dad. Everything in the world is worse now. That reminds me, I saw an amazing recipe today. I forget exactly where I saw it, but the guy, he made pepperoni pizza popcorn. So get this. Listen, Chris, he took a bunch of pepperonis. He threw them in a frying pan. You with me? The raw pepperonis. Obviously, that's going to produce pepperoni grease. Once the pepperonis are done and crisped up, he scooped it out of the pan, put the pepperonis on a paper towel or something. Then he took popcorn kernels. They're kernels, right? Popcorn kernels, dumped them in the pan with the pepperoni grease, and the kernels sat there and popped up cooked in the pepperoni grease. And then afterwards, he took, I think it was Parmesan, dropped it on there, and then took the pepperonis and dropped it on there. I'm dying to try it. I feel like Ob's not going to be down for that per se. So I'm going to have to go a different route. Probably going to have to try that on my own, which might get bad. I'll make the kids do it. That's it. I'll make the kids do it, or I'll threaten them. Anyway. We'll be back.
The Jesse Kelly Show.
It is the Jesse Kelly Show on a fantastic Wednesday. So I got myself a little bit hungry. By the way, you can email the show, love, hate, death threats. Ask Dr. Jesse. Friday's coming. Jesse@jessekellyshow.com. I got myself a little bit hungry at the end of last segment. And I'm being mocked by Chris and Corey for something, and I'm just going to throw it over to you, all right? Here's what I'm being mocked for. Tonight, after the show, we are all going out to dinner. Families are invited to. We're all going out to dinner. Corey's wife is pregnant, got a bun in the oven. Because I'm a nice person, we were talking about where we wanted to go. Do we want to go tacos or hot dogs or something? Red Lobster if we want something nice. Chris pushed back on that. I guess there are religious problems. But either way, I said maybe the pregnant lady should choose. I remember what my wife was like when she was pregnant. I'm making midnight runs to Dairy Queen for soft serve ice cream. I know what it's like. They want what they want, and I'm okay with whatever. I'm okay. So I ask Corey, ask the missus what she's in the mood for. Corey says, oh, okay. And then I don't hear anything. 15 minutes goes by. 20 minutes goes by. Nothing. Like it's unimportant. To the point where I have to go check in. Corey and Chris are doing nerdy producer stuff. I don't know. It's probably not important. And I say, what's going on for dinner? What did she decide? Oh, I don't really know. And he pulls out his phone. Again, like it's the least important thing in the world. And then Corey says to me, you just want to know because you want to look at the menu ahead of time and think about what you're going to order. Yeah. Yes. Why does everyone make fun of me for this? Ob relentlessly makes fun of me for this when I ask her if we have a date night plan, so we're going to go out to dinner. And I start telling her, hey, I think I'd like to try this, or are you in the mood for this? And it'll be usually during or right after breakfast. And she'll say something in the most condescending tone, too. I don't know, babe. We just ate breakfast. I think it can wait. What, Chris? It's not because I don't have any other hobbies. Haven't you learned, hasn't everybody learned by this point in time that it's the anticipation of something that makes the something that much better? In every way, it's the anticipation of something. I don't want to, and she'll say things like, well, why don't we figure it out when we get there? They have menus. That's what she tells me every time, and she thinks it's so clever. I don't want to figure it out when I get there. I want to spend time on my phone looking at the menu, and not only am I going to look at the menu, I'm going to look up pictures of the menu items I'm curious about. Because what, Chris? Am I into model trains at all? I like model trains, yes, and there was a period of time in my life when I did enjoy model trains, but they always got stuck when you try to put little toy guys in front of them and run them over, so I decided the model trains were not for me. But yes, I don't know what that has to do with anything. Anyway, I want to look up pictures, if like this place we're going tonight. They have nachos. Well, it's easy to say you have nachos, and I can read the ingredients on the nachos. Are you doing the normal restaurant thing where you're mailing it in? Are you just chucking a pile of chips in the center of the table and then throwing a bunch of garbage on it and calling that nachos? Or is there actual TLC involved in the nachos? What's the chip to cheese to meat ratio? Wings. They have wings. I told you we're keeping it classy around here. How saucy are the wings? Are they? That's what I said. See, now Chris is looking them up. Now you know what I'm talking about. That's a good sauce ratio, right? I can't look at the menu and find that out. I can't just walk in and wing it. See what, Chris, you see what I did? Anyway, I can't walk in and wing it on the wings. I need to anticipate. I want the next couple hours. Yeah, I'm going to do some radio, of course. I want to think about it during the break. You know what? Not only, since we decided where we're going, not only have I looked at it, I've looked at it 3 times. 3 commercial breaks. I have looked it up, and I'm still torn. I don't know. There's a little cheesesteak thing on there. Wings, nachos. I've even considered, I'll do this before because I have an adventurous spirit. I'll go all appetizers. I'm not scared. They call that tapas. What I think it's tapas or something. I'm not sure. It's whatever. I'll go all appetizer. I'm not afraid to do so. And the waitress always has to say something to the effect of, for your meal? Yes, for my meal. Yes, for the meal. How hard is that to understand? You know what? I might go all appetizers tonight. I'm not afraid to. And don't think I'm going to share with Corey since he had to make snotty remarks. Have you taken your male vitality stack yet today? I'm going to wash down my male vitality stack with some mozzarella sticks that I'm not sharing with Corey, thus ensuring I get to eat delicious things while also keeping my T levels jacked through the roof. Do you want the energy to analyze your dinner during the commercial break while also doing award-winning radio? Only high T levels can do that for you. Do you want to feel good all the time? Energy all the time? Your mind working good all the time? I do. I like that. I love how I feel. That's why I've been taking it for 4 years. Chalk.com. Go see. Look, it's not just male vitality stacks and female vitality stacks. It's the best natural herbal supplements you can possibly find. Go find out what they can do for you. You're about to feel so much better. CHOQ. Chalk.com. Promo code Jesse. All right? We'll be back.
Feeling a little stocky? Follow, like, and subscribe on social at Jesse Kelly Show.
It is the Jesse Kelly Show. Reminding you, if you miss any part of the show, you can download it on iHeart, Spotify, iTunes. One more word on this before we get to the officer's injuries. I was going to let it go, but I can't let it go when producer Corey says he's trying to defend himself during the break, that I look at the menu ahead of time, and I look at the items, the pictures of the food items ahead of time. On my life, Chris will back me up on this. On my life, he says during the break, you don't ever want to let the vibe decide for you. The vibe of what does that even mean? What are you, from San Francisco? The vibe.
Why are you gay?
What does that mean? How would a vibe? No, I don't want to let the vibe decide. Good grief.
Why are you gay?
Remember when Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, said this? Speaking of this.
Why are you gay?
The ICE agent walked away
with a hip injury that he might as well have gotten from closing a refrigerator door with it.
Communists lie about everything all the time. Communists lie about everything all the time. And one of the biggest tells for when communists are telling lies is when they take the most over-the-top, extreme lies that don't sound right. Like, remember 2020, the 2020 election, when it had the most mail-in ballots ever? Mail-in ballots are banned in many countries because they're just not secure, right? So whatever you believe about 2020, maybe you think it's all on the up and up, but an election with the most mail-in ballots ever can't possibly be a totally secure election. Now, right after the election, I was very suspicious, as you were, but I'd like to try to wait. I want facts to come in. I don't want to mislead you. I don't want to mislead me. I like to wait. And so I like to wait and watch. I want to see the evidence, and I want to see how people react. You know how I knew Democrats cheated in the 2020 election? They immediately ran to the media and called it the most secure election in history. It's not just that they went to the media and said, well, it was a secure election. We made sure it was secure. It's the most secure election ever. Well, that's when I knew, oh, they cheated. Right? I just want you to remember they lie about everything all the time.
The ICE agent walked away with a hip injury that he might as well have gotten from closing a refrigerator door with his hips.
ICE agent who shot Renee Good suffered internal bleeding. It's in his torso. And that would make sense considering a 4,000-pound SUV ran into him. It's football season. NFL players break ribs. I remember Chris Sims. He played quarterback. He was the son of New York Giant quarterback Phil Sims. Chris Sims, if I remember correctly, at one point in his career, got a lacerated spleen. How did that happen? Well, a large man, probably 300 pounds, 250 pounds, ran into him. What happens to your insides when a 4,000-pound vehicle collides with you at any speed? They liquefy. But communists lie about everything at all times. All the time. The vibes. I still can't get over that. Let the vibes. I'm disgusted more than anything. Hey, Texas warlord. Given our success in Venezuela, can't we do the same thing with the warlords in Somalia and get to the root of the problem? Well, no, because the problem in Somalia is Somalians. You understand that? And this is not unique to Somalia, so I don't want you to think I'm picking on Somalia. There are people from various cultures around the globe who, again, it's not necessarily their fault. I can't even believe I'm saying this, but if you grow up in a poisonous culture, and your parents grew up in a poisonous culture, and their parents grew up in a poisonous culture, and their parents grew up in a poisonous culture, well, the problem is the people themselves. Not that this individual from Somalia can't be a great person and can't break out of that and, give their lives to Christ, eat it, Chris, and things like that. It's not that. That can happen. But as a group, the problem in Somalia, you could go right now. You could go snap your fingers or send in Delta Force, and you could locate and execute every single demonic warlord in Somalia who kills people and rapes people and does all the terrible things. And all you have to do, check your watch. In a week, there'll be just as many warlords rising through the ranks in Somalia, because in certain cultures, remember what BK told us last night? And I've told you about this about Somalians, but remember what BK told us? It was last night, right, Chris? Last night. BK was talking to us about how he had a professor from Russia and how she was explaining to them that theft, graft is what he called it. That was part of the culture. And that's just what you did. If you got a parking ticket, you didn't go fight it in court. You had to go find the appropriate person to pay off. That's how the culture works. I've told you this before. The Soviet Union, because the shelves are empty. The communism destroys everything. The people there needed things. So if it's your apartment, it's you and your family in your apartment. It's freezing cold in Russia in the wintertime, right? Your heater breaks. You have to get your heater fixed. Now, what do? Well, you call the building manager, okay? He's never going to show up unless you bribe him in some way. You don't have to be a crook at heart. That's how you get your heater fixed. If you're a mother, this happened. This was the norm, by the way. It's not that this happened. This was the norm. If it's time for back to school shopping, you know what you do? They had large, gigantic underground black markets. That's where little Vlad had to go get his pencils and his backpacks and his notebooks. And guess who ran the black market? The Russian mafia, Russian criminals. Now, you can criticize that young mother all you want, but that's the culture. Otherwise, Vlad isn't getting pencils. He's not getting notebooks. That's the culture. I've told you before the story. Chris just brought it up. I've told you before the story. I bribed a cop in Mexico. We got there. We were in the Marine Corps. We went down to Tijuana. We were not allowed to be in Tijuana. Young Marines listening, do not go down to Tijuana. It's different now. But we went down to Tijuana, of course. As soon as they told us we weren't allowed to go, that's the first place we went. We got out. My buddy had to pee. We were in the top floor of a parking garage. We were in a parking lot. And he got out, stepped right behind the car, unzipped his trousers, and went pee in the parking lot because his teeth were floating. And up come a couple Mexican cops. And the handcuffs went on him. Well, I am a law-abiding citizen for the most part, but when in Mexico, I reached in my back pocket, pulled out some cash, placed it in their hands, out come the handcuff keys, the handcuffs went off, and out into Tijuana we went. The problem in Somalia is Somalians. The problem in Haiti is Haitians. We like to look at our fellow man in the best possible light. We like to think, well, what if we just took this guy away? Or what if this guy was removed? That wouldn't change the root of the problem. Cultures are a very, very powerful thing. Can be very wonderful, can be very poisonous. I have some great news. Next.
Jesse Kelly.
It is the Jesse Kelly Show. So let's discuss something, shall we? Trump announced today that he's going to create this new division to investigate fraud in this country.
Last week we announced that I'm creating a brand new division at the Department of Justice, a legal strike force led by a really tough, smart new Attorney General for fraud. He is a fantastic young guy. He's so impassioned to do this properly. We intend to imprison any fraudster, politician, or public official involved in these sick plots to loot and pillage our country.
Wonderful. You want to hear something bonkers out of San Francisco? Listen to this, speaking of fraud.
I did an article that posted today just highlighting one of these organizations in San Francisco, which is supposed to be providing free shots of alcohol to homeless alcoholics. And in 5 years, at $16 million a year, they've served 55 clients.
No, you're making that up. Wait, this is tax money, and it buys free shots of booze to street drunks.
Yes, and it's been going on for a number of years. It was an organization that already existed, but they beefed it up during COVID, ostensibly to keep these homeless alcoholics out of emergency rooms.
$16 million a year, 55 clients. The amount of theft in this country is staggering. Staggering. Trump's digging into it, but that's actually not the real great news. Headline. Well, it's not a headline. This is from the State Department. The State Department will pause immigrant visa processing from 75 countries whose migrants take welfare from the American people at unacceptable rates. The freeze will remain active until the U.S. can ensure that new immigrants will not extract wealth from the American people. Don't ever tell me that November didn't matter. November mattered a lot. A lot. And this is where people will understandably say, but we're not doing this. In fact, people are already picking apart the list of countries. There's 75 countries, but people are already saying, well, what about this country? What about that country? What about H-1Bs from India? I hear that one a lot. Well, I noticed he didn't say anything about H-1Bs for India. Do you know why you're angry? Not because you're wrong. You're not wrong. If that's what you're saying, I'm not saying you're wrong. You're right. You're angry because you think Trump is the end. He's our last chance. Trump has to fix everything. That's not humanly possible in 4 years as president. With the limits on the power of the presidency, even if Trump did everything right, it's not possible to fix everything in 4 years. That's a fact. Trump is not the end. He's the beginning. This is step one, not the final step. The ones that come after Trump. And he will always deserve worlds of credit for getting the movement rolling, the America First movement rolling, for exposing the fraud, for starting the deportations, for doing things like this. He will always get large amounts of credit for that. And you know what else is true? He'll be the worst one. Because the ones that come after him will learn. They will learn from mistakes he made. They will learn from moves the enemy made. You know, that's why the ones that come after are better. It's not that they're better men or stronger men or things like that. They may be. I don't know. But that's not the reason. The reason is they look at what the communists did to the last guy and the ways they torpedoed the last guy. And they make adjustments so the communists can't do that to them. But then the communists will kneecap them in some ways. And then the next guy will be better. And then the next guy will be better. I know this doesn't solve all of our problems, but he should be doing that. But why isn't he doing that? But what he should. You're right. I want what you want. He's just the beginning. Our movement here, the anti-communist movement, it's in its infancy. Maybe you consider us to be leaders of the anti-communist movement, and maybe you and I are, in a way. Because we're finally developing some teeth, learning how to deal with communists, learning how they think, learning what they want. Maybe we are the leaders, but you know something? I'll tell you something. True anti-communists who will make us look pathetic, they're 10 years old right now. It's crazy to think about, isn't it? They're children right now. And anti-communists who will make them look pathetic, they're not even born yet. This is the beginning of a movement that will outlive you and I. It will. It will go on and on and on. Remember that when you point out things like this isn't happening or that's not happening. We're getting stuff we never would have gotten under President Dome.
Additionally, starting February 1st, we're not making any payments to sanctuary cities or states having sanctuary cities because they do everything possible to protect criminals at the expense of American citizens, and it breeds fraud and crime and all of the other problems that come. So we're not making any payment to anybody that supports sanctuary cities.
That's not enough. You're right. It's more than we've had before. It's the start, just the start. And people will say, and maybe you're saying, but Democrats are going to come back. We are going to yo-yo. We have to move the ball forward in our direction when we have power, as far and fast as we possibly can, with the understanding that communists are going to get power again at some point in time, and they're going to destroy a bunch of crap when they do, because that's what they do. They destroy everything they touch. They wreck it on purpose. We know that's coming, and when that comes, we'll hunker down and try to weather the storm like we did the last time, and try to avoid prison or getting shot and thrown in a ditch somewhere, and we'll try to get to the next guy as fast as we possibly can. Right now, good things are happening. They are. It's fine to be angry from time to time. You've heard me rant and rave from time to time. Good things are happening. All right. We're going to get some emails because I haven't gotten to many. Somebody wants to talk about Doge for the States. Why don't we have that? Someone's actually angry with the Venezuelan people. Why aren't they doing more? All that, so much more coming up in the final hour. Hang on.